Well, it's the largest collection of African American history in the entire country, and it's right in downtown Detroit at the Charles H. Wright Museum. One of the exhibits, Still I Rise, chronicles the African American journey from the dark continent to the New World. It's a journey I recently took and will never forget. Walk past the Charles H. Wright's sun-soaked atrium and step into a world from millions of years ago. This tour of African American history begins in the birthplace of civilization, Africa, with a replica of the 3.5 million-year-old remains of our common birth mother, Lucy.
She symbolizes the origins of mankind in Africa when she was discovered by Leakey. And so what we do is we symbolize that we are all one people. We all arrive out of the cradle of civilization in Africa, and that Lucy shows us that common bond.
The 22,000 square foot tour features actors.
And this lets everyone know where they are from, simply by looking at what they are wearing.
As well as stunning exhibits moving you from African villages.
Please, everyone, follow this way.
To the dark days of slavery and through what was called the door of no return.
This is where slaves who were now captives would be taken onto the ship. And as we walk out of the door of no return, we've now entered the ship that's going to take us into the new world.
It was here slaves were branded like livestock and marched into the hull of the ship, a place dubbed the belly of the beast.
The slaves would then be anchored, laid on their side so they could get as many slaves as possible on the ship, and then sent off to the new world with cargo. So there would be everything from yams and sorghum and precious metals that they were all being shipped with because they were just considered another valuable commodity.
You follow the lives of slaves in America and learn of their roles in the fight for freedom, including the part Michigan troops played in the Civil War.
Here we had people who were former slaves that had escaped. We had people that had had their freedom and were in the Northwest Territories or in Michigan, and it was an opportunity for us to show that we could contribute to our freedom as a country and to our freedom as a people.
The focus on Michigan continues as blacks head to the Motor City in the 20th century to work for the only automaker who would employ them, Henry Ford.
He gave us an opportunity to move up. And that opportunity brings you into a place like Paradise Valley. Paradise Valley was the place in Detroit where African Americans could go on the weekend, hear good music. There were great people like Sonny Wilson who brought in Ella Fitzgerald and Pearl Bailey.
And watch the latest movies at the Paradise Theater. What was known as the Colored Theater then goes by a different name today.
The Paradise Theater today is known as Orchestra Hall. Still a place of entertainment, but a huge change in purpose.
You'll learn Detroit wasn't just a beacon for black opportunity and entertainment, but also for advancement. Walter Reuther, the Reverend Martin Luther King Jr., and Aretha Franklin's dad, the Reverend C.L. Franklin, led the March on Freedom on June 23, 1968.
Because when they started marching down Woodward Avenue, there was a very, very small crowd. And then all of a sudden they realized there were 125,000 people behind them. And then all of a sudden they realized, my goodness, we have almost 200,000 people behind us. The crowd just swelled.
I have a dream.
And Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King gives the famous I Have a Dream speech first here in Detroit. And as we now know, that speech resonated in the words of President Barack Obama.
Congratulations, Mr. President.
Through 3.5 million years of history, the story continues. And on this journey, you can celebrate how far we as a people and as a country have come.